here, but the society always adapts to its changing needs. So maybe in 2015, we needed to take a lot of lawyers. In 2026, we look at it to say, well, we have an aging population, we need caregivers. That's what law is about, to be able to say, what do we need in the moment, and how can we adapt to that? In 2017, 18-ish, the Prime Minister of Canada at the time had said, Canada is open to everyone. And as a result of that, a lot of people in the United States cross the border to come into Canada. The rules around that are in search of protection, people whose lives are in danger and all of that. Rules around refugee protection and all of that, it changes over time. Who is eligible, who is not eligible, those things change over time. And it's important that if you're going to navigate immigration and getting status in Canada, that you're aware of what things change and how they may affect you. Now, I'm going to start this week talking about folks who are on a study permit. What has changed in 2026 for study permit holders, who can be a study permit holder, and who is Canada what's the number of people Canada is looking to welcome in as study permit holders. Now, the information we have for 2026 is that Canada has projections, 5 years typically, to say over a 5-year period, here's the number of people we expect to admit as temporary residents, here's the number of people we expect to admit as permanent resident. And so because through the pandemic, there was what I'll call an explosion of temporary permit holders, whereby the system wasn't able to sort of cope in terms of housing, healthcare, and the likes. For 2026, the government expects to issue about 408 study permits. Now, you'll find that from previous levels, these numbers are reducing from time to time. Now, these 408 study permit holders that we're expecting would include new arrivals, which will be about 155,000, and 253,000 for extension. So folks who have a study permit, you want to extend your program, you want to do something more. In terms of levels, what the government says is for 2026, 253,000 for those. Now, you may ask, how does that affect me as a person? It means that if there's a limited scope of or limited spaces for study permit holders, then the application that you're putting in for study permit extension or a new study permit, it's going to need to be more competitive for you to have a chance at being approved. Now, another thing the government had introduced, which I would expect any student who is interfacing with Canada now may be familiar with, is something called provincial attestation letters. It is therefore important that for folks who are applying afresh or you're applying to extend, you make a determination as to whether in your situation you require a provincial attestation letter, which basically ensures that in the province that you're studying, there's space that is made available for you in terms of accommodation, healthcare, and the basic social public resources that the person who lives in Canada will be able to access. Now, there have also been changes to the postgraduate work permit eligibility rules. Again, going back to myself, like I said, in 2015, all you needed to do is study in a publicly regulated institution or a private institution that applies publicly regulated rules, finish your program, and then you apply, you provide your certificate or transcript, you get your study permit, your postgraduate work permit. But these days now, you need to show that you have the potential to contribute to Canada. And how does the government assess that? What is your language proficiency? Canada's official languages, English, French. How proficient are you in that? Depending on the education that you've done, what level are you able to show? If you've gone to university, you've studied for a bachelor's degree, you've gotten a master's degree, or you've done what I'll call a PhD in this context, a doctoral degree, there's a certain level, CLB 7. So across the board, whether it's in speaking, listening, writing, and reading, you need to be able to show that you are proficient at level 7, which is, I would say, above average. For folks who have gone to colleges, certain colleges offer bachelor's degrees. So if you've gone to college and you studied for a bachelor's degree, you obviously will be ranked at the level 7 that I talked about before. But for most college programs, language benchmark 5. What that means again is average at most. If you're not able to show language benchmark 5 in one skill area, then potentially it leads you into problems for eligibility for PGWP. And in my experience, we've seen a lot of clients who have had to write language 1, 2, 3 times, and they're not getting that. And that ultimately runs them into a problem, because if you're done with your studies and you're not able to get a PGWP, then the question is, what do you do next? You're looking out for, can I get an employer who's able to hire me at that point in time? Then you don't need the language benchmark 7 for a PGWP eligibility. So it's important that folks who are going down this path are aware early on to say that if at the end of my 1 year, 2 year program, I'm going to need to show proficiency at a level that I'm not yet at, what effort am I putting in to get myself to that level? So that's one important thing I'll point out here. Now, because again, Canada is a bilingual country, for folks who have plans to transition from temporary status to a more permanent one, permanent residence that is, if you're going to go down the path of finishing your studies, going to PGWP and ultimately getting to PR, you may want to start thinking at the beginning to say, can I, as a student, whilst doing my program, begin to develop my skills in French? Why? Because again, I talked about before, the increase in competition for the limited spaces that we have for permanent residents. If you're going to go down the general pool where most people that are looking to come to Canada are proficient in English, then you look at, is there a smaller pool, or what are the draws for French language speaking people? If I'm going to be struggling to get 500 and something, can I do better with French where I know draws are in the 300, high 300, low 400 region? To put me on a track to be able to transition, if I'm able to show proficiency at least at an above average level, then it improves my chances of getting an invitation to apply if I'm going to go down that path of finish my studies, get a work permit, and ultimately get an invitation to apply for PR. So something to think about. Now, also across the board, whether it's for PR applications or temporary resident applications, there's been an increase in the amount of funds a person is going to need to get settled in Canada. What does that mean? It basically is, if you're coming to settle in Canada, whether as a temporary resident or a permanent resident, there's an expectation that at least for your first year, you have some resources to be able to support yourself, to be able to get to pay your rent, get your feeding, possibly purchase your books to study, especially for folks who are students. And what we've seen is a significant increase because the cost of living has obviously gone up from what the levels used to be. And currently, for a single person who is applying for a study permit, there's an expectation that you show at least about just under 23,000 in terms of the funds that you have available to support yourself. Now, important to note that that's aside your school fees. So there are two different things: your cost of living expenses as well as your school fees. Two completely different things. But for that part of things, you need to show at least $23,000 thereabout. Now, again, back in the day, people, you come here as a student, international students were allowed to have their spouses and family members here. Now, with changes to the rules, there's been a limitation as to who can have their family members with them while they're studying as an international student. Currently, it's, folks who are, I'll call it postgraduate level, master's degrees, doctorate holders. And then for folks who are on a work permit, for you to be able to bring your spouse, there's a certain skill level that you're expected to have. So folks who are working in skill level 0, 1, 2, 0 and 1, regardless of the job that you're doing, you're able to apply for your spouse to come, especially if you have at least 16 months on your work permit. If you're working in tier level 2 and 3, which is highly skilled, but lower than 0 and 1, then in certain identified, essential, I'll call them essential labor priority occupations, you may be able to apply for your spouses to come. So again, if you're coming in as a student or you're a student and expecting your family to be here with you, the question will be today, are you eligible as a student first to be able to bring your family members to accompany you, or you have to wait till when you get to the postgraduate work permit level for your spouses to accompany you. Now, I alluded to this in terms of the law adapting to what the society needs, and as a result of that, immigration also responds to say, well, the people we need in Canada right now are healthcare workers, folks in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, people who are senior level executives who have experience in Canada, doctors. If you listen to the news from time to time, you hear about shortages in family doctors, people pushing for nurse practitioners to be able to do things that family doctors can do. These are the ways that the government responds to what the society needs. And so in recent times, 2026 especially, there's a priority on specific labor needs such as healthcare, trades, and I alluded to science, technology, and mathematics. Teachers are also in high demand at this time. So if you have background working in secondary school teaching, primary level teaching, I think there's education assistants as well, folks who support daycares and things like that. There's a high priority for those type of skills. Now, just moving away from the temporary residence, student, worker, and transitioning that way through to permanent residence. A lot of immigrants transition from coming in to make an asylum claim. Now, what the government has seen is with students running out of their status, with workers running out of status, not having a pathway to either extend or move on to something else, people ultimately were turning to the refugee system. So you find a person who may have been here for several years, having tried and failed to extend their status, then they take advantage of, in the government's eyes, of the asylum system, the becoming a refugee claimant. And so to curtail that, turning at the last minute to the refugee system, overloading the refugee system as it were, the government has put in new eligibility rules to help better manage the integrity of that process. One of the things the government has done is, if you've been here for over a year, having come into Canada after June 2020, and you made your claim after June 3rd last year, the fact that you've been here for more than 1 year, or the first time you visited Canada has been more than 1 year at the time you made your claim will not be eligible. Now let me break that down. For the person who has been here, say from 2021, and you then make a claim in 2026, we're in July. You've been here for about 5-6 years, thereabout. The rule for that 1 year eligibility means that you're not eligible for your claim to be referred to the refugee board, which then means that you don't get to be a refugee claimant, strictly speaking. You don't get to have a hearing at the Refugee Protection Division. Your claim would likely be processed through another pathway, which I will explain in little detail shortly. Now, for the person who has visited Canada, say in 2021, you spent 4 months and you went back to your country. You come back to Canada in 2026, July. The fact that it's been more than 1 year since the first time you arrived in Canada also makes you get caught by that 1 year eligibility rule. So regardless of the fact that you've not stayed in Canada for the entire period, but it's been more than 1 year since the first time you came into Canada, the way the rules are being interpreted right now is that the refugee system isn't available to you. Now, does that mean that Canada doesn't care about people who have risked to their lives? Because, refugee claimants, there's an expression that you're making a claim on account of persecution as a result of your race, your nationality, membership of a social group, your religion, political opinion, whatever the case may be. Canada has an obligation, given its international commitments, to afford you an opportunity to be heard. But what Canada is saying here is, rather than send you to the refugee board, we will put you through a different process, something called PRA, which is a pre-removal risk assessment application, whereby that risk that you say you have to your life will then be assessed, just in a different system. So as against a refugee claimant who would have to wait to have a hearing at the refugee board by a refugee board member, a person who makes a claim and is no longer eligible based on these amendments to the Immigration Act would be given an opportunity prior to removal to have an immigration officer assess the risk that you have. So even though you may not have a hearing, like the typical refugee claimant, you ultimately still have a chance, provided you are able to show that the reasons for your claim are trustworthy and credible, and meet all the other legal requirements in law. An immigration officer may ultimately still approve your claim. Now, what does that mean for a person in that type of situation? It just means that pending the time removal is enforced, you have the opportunity, like a refugee claimant, to be in Canada. You have the opportunity to present your case. If it's ultimately approved, you get the same rights and privileges that a refugee claimant will have, which will be, upon approval, you can then proceed to apply for a permanent residence. So I would say that whilst it may be disconcerting for certain people, because again, the fact that you've been in Canada by itself for several years doesn't mean that the reasons why your life is in danger have happened for several years. Certain people, things only happen recently. So the fact that the rules have changed doesn't mean that you get shut out from the system. You still have an opportunity, just a different track, to have that claim assessed on its merits. Now, another thing that the government have tried to curtail is, previously, before the amendments, certain people, come in irregularly, we'll call it, through Canada's border with the United States. The rules were that for a person who is coming to Canada from the United States is considered what we call a safe third country. What that basically means in very simple terms is that before you come to Canada to ask for Canada's help, the fact that you've been in a place that is considered to be safe, you have an obligation to ask for help in that place first. So if you're coming to Canada from the United States, particularly through the land borders, you are generally not eligible to have your claim referred to the refugee board because you'll be caught by the Safe Third Country Agreement. A couple of things can happen. You can get sent back to the United States to go make your claim, or you get refused that referral to the refugee board and you're put through the prayer track that I just explained. Now, the rules, however, had what we'll call in law a lacuna, which is a gap in simple terms, which is if I come in irregularly, even though that I'm coming from the United States, as long as I'm able to be in Canada for more than 14 days, then I don't get caught by that Safe Third Country agreement, which would prevent me from going to refugee board. Now, what they have done now is to say, if you do that, and you wait, because again, we interpret the law and try to apply it from what the law allowed, you wait for the 14 days to pass and then come forward with your claim. If you would have been sent to the refugee board previously, the new rules will not allow you to be sent. So again, if you're coming irregularly, waiting for 14 days now isn't of any benefit to you in that sense. So the eligibility rules will still exclude you, notwithstanding. And in the eyes of government, what does this do for the system? It helps the integrity of the system, ensures that claims can be processed faster. These days you find refugee claims pending for 2-3 years. The government is having to hire new members from time to time, but certain people are still waiting for their hearings to be heard over several years. They're trying to better manage the situations whereby in certain situations, rather than have people go to a hearing, your claim may be accelerated by paper review, which is if you have a claim that is particularly credible, a decision can be made in your claim without having to send you to a hearing, which basically will be you sending your documents and a member of the refugee board reviews it, and decision can be made one way or the other. Now, having said that, I think it's important for a forum like this to mention that very rarely happens with claims from Nigeria. More times than not, claims from Nigeria will go to a hearing. Now, just moving on and trying to wrap this up, I know I was given a limited time. The last update I'll talk about today will be OIMP. Now, we had started from temporary residence, permanent residence. I alluded to express entry, which is the skilled immigration system. Not everybody will get an invitation through the skilled immigration system, express entry. Provincial nomination comes in to either give you additional points through express entry or give you a direct to PR pathway. And every province in Canada has that opportunity to, based on allocations that they have from the federal government, identify its own local needs and then support people for their permanent residence. So if you say reside in Alberta and Alberta is looking to get people in tech, you apply to Alberta for a nomination, you get a nomination from Alberta, you can either apply for your PR straight away or you get 600 points that you can then bring into the express entry pool to be able to get an invitation from the federal government. Now, bring that down to Ontario where we are. Ontario has decided to overhaul its OIMP system. Again, dealing with integrity issues, ensuring that the applicants which employers are supporting, they're doing it on a genuine basis. Again, there have been irregularities in terms of integrity about genuineness of jobs that are being used to get provincial nominations. So what the government has done is to say, the systems that we had before, whether it was the foreign worker stream, the international student stream, the master's and PhD graduate stream, or the in-demand stream, all of that has been scrapped with an expectation that over the course of the summer, a new system will be rolled out whereby the government is better able to manage the folks that they are nominating for PR. So, details will be provided as the government rolls that out, but the objective here is, again, to be driven by the needs of Ontario. and ensure that necessary verifications will happen to the jobs that are being put forward to support applicants for nomination through the Ontario system. So if, for example, you had your application already processing, if you had submitted and your application is pending, it will still be processed under the old rules. If you had a profile in the pool, previously you've not been invited, those are likely to go with the old system, and when the new system is rolled out, your employer will likely need to put that job offer in again, and then you hope that you get an invitation and then can do your nomination at that point in time under the new rules. So I would say that that's in sum will be key updates that I think will be relevant in a session like this. Like I said before, immigration changes from time to time. Immigration is responsive. It's important that in a community as we have here, like the president has said, I would put that in the sense that together everyone can achieve more. You have a rare privilege of having a community where others may have gone through the system as well. It's important that we're able to talk about our issues whilst we are cooking our yam and waiting for it to get done. If we run into challenges, it's important to be able to voice that out, seek for help where it's necessary, seek for information, and take a diligent approach, I would say, a proactive approach to immigration issues. Don't wait until things are at where you have no further options. If you're at the beginning of your journey, it's important to begin to ask questions. I just bring it back to myself. When I come into Canada as a master's, to complete a master's degree in Canada, my objective was come, get some work experience, and see what happens. I had no idea coming into Canada about express entry, but because I was able to pay attention to the community that I had at the time, information about the possibility of express entry had come into me. But if I had paid attention prior to coming to Canada and known about the existence of express entry, I may have been able to make an informed decision to say, rather than put about 35,000 into a master's degree, I can put those resources into applying for express entry even from Nigeria. So again, back to that point that I said, a journey that can take 6 months without information, without a community, without a support system can take you 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. You don't want to be that case. So my message in summary is, do what you can, do what you need to do early enough, and then hopefully the land of Canada yields results to you. Thank you very much, and we'll turn to questions now.
Please, we're going to take a few questions regarding this topic. If you have a question, please, can you put up your hands? Okay.
Hello, everyone. I have a question. Okay, I have a question. We are talking about the new rule and how it applies to people that are federal. So my question is, for a person who is eligible for the new rule and receive a prior from immigration, if for any reason the prior is approved, so the applicant file has to be returned to the immigration, ROCIC, for the applicant to proceed the asylum application or hearing, or does the person need to apply for permanent residence if the prior is approved?
I think that's a very good question. I alluded to that when I was speaking. For a person who is approved through prior, depending on what your background is, and I'll explain what I mean by background. A prior approval puts you in the same position as a person who had an approval from the refugee board. So the general answer is, if you get an approval that way, you can straight away go to apply for your permanent residence. You don't get sent back to the refugee board. You don't need to go become a refugee claimant again. The prior process is not to make you eligible for being a refugee claimant. It's to assess the risk to your life, and when a determination is made that you've met the requirements of Section 96 or Section 97, and your applications are approved, you ultimately become a protected person. A protected person makes you eligible. Being a protected person makes you eligible to apply for permanent residence as a protected person. Now, whilst that is general rule, there are certain prior applicants who may not be eligible to apply for permanent residence straight away. For example, you've had a criminal background, you've been convicted of a serious offense. Your prior approval doesn't put you in that state to straight away apply for PR. You're most likely going to need to deal with things about, criminal rehabilitation, whether or not you've completed your sentence, done all the things that are required of you legally. Then, over time, you may be able to be considered rehabilitated and then can apply for PR or possibly explore, PR on humanitarian and compassionate grounds. Now, I think that's another important thing to point out in this session, even though that's not the 2026 update, is that the processing time for things like an H&C application for permanent residence has changed. Previously, pre-2025, it used to be about 24 months, but now the government says it's going to take 10 years. Again, another measure to, sort of curtail that, turn it to that system when you don't have any other option, to discourage it. Does it mean that your application will not be processed? No. It means that it may take a longer period of time. You need to do what you need to do to be here during that period. But if for any reason you're not even here, you submitted an H&C application, the application will still be processed. But back to the question you asked, a prior approval it won't put you back to have to then go back to the refugee system. You can apply for PR most of the time.
Thank you. We'll take the next question.
Thank you so much. Mine is very straight. Take it for instance, you are preliminary work permit and you decide to invite your spouse for just a visit visa, and your spouse and your kids got a visit visa. Now they can they actually convert from being a visitor visa into, are they eligible for the same work permit that you have? Since you're on work permit, that is one. Because I know that before you can give me a work permit, you need to have or do the job of tier 0 to 3. And if unfortunately you don't get that job, and your spouse now who is on the visitor's visa in Canada, is that spouse eligible to receive
Have fun, how you doing?
for reason?
What time is it starting again?
That is one. And two, you that is on postgraduate work permit.
Oh yeah, no. I didn't want to shoot. I don't finish. I dey come.
To fight the same refugee.
Yeah, both of us, yeah.
Because
You know, see, I don't forget.
this is your spouse in case.
No.
Is it possible?
Well, I didn't come. I didn't want to shoot. I didn't want to shoot for Etobicoke North.
If after your postgraduate work permit and your spouse
Yeah, it's close by. Yeah, perfect. Okay. I didn't
did
come.
file a refugee claim, are you eligible to remain in Canada? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for that. So I will preface my answer with this: actions have consequences, and I will explain why I say that. But first, let me start with the spouse who's on a visitor's visa. Whether you can do the spousal work permit from inside Canada. I think you have the answer to that, which is their eligibility for that will depend on whether or not you have the requisite job. So in terms of what visitors can do inside Canada, generally a visitor in Canada cannot apply for a work permit from inside Canada. But there are certain exceptions. Exceptions will include, if you're eligible for a spousal open work permit, which can either be you're the student of, or you're the spouse of an international student who makes you eligible for a spousal open work permit. You are the spouse of a foreign worker who makes you eligible for a spousal open work permit, or you have been sponsored for permanent residence by a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, and therefore on that basis, you can't be eligible for a spousal open work permit. But in this situation that you've given, my spouse is a PG or PP holder, I'm here on a visitor's visa, my ability to apply for a spousal open work permit will depend on the kind of job that my spouse has and the timeline that is left on my spouse's work permit. The spouse needs to have at least 16 months left on their work permit and needs to have a job that is either 0 or 1, which can be any type of job, or 2 and 3 in the identified areas. If those answers are yes, then you can do the spousal open work permit. And the children can also apply for a visitor's record or study permit if they need to go to school. Now, with respect to whether or not that spouse in Canada can do a refugee claim, the first questions would be to ask, in light of the new rules for C12, which is what is your 1-year date for entering into Canada? Has that spouse just come into Canada? Have they been here before? If they've been here before, then the question is, what's the timeline between that time and the time the refugee claim is made? If it's over 1 year, that spouse cannot make a refugee claim, or can make the refugee claim, but will be considered ineligible and will be put through the prior route that we talked about. But if that was the first time the spouse is coming into Canada, then the spouse's refugee claim can still be referred to the refugee board. You must also understand that if you as a PGWP holder, decide to make a refugee claim with your spouse, your eligibility will be assessed on your own immigration history. So we've seen a situation whereby, a father had come into Canada, visited, gone back home, then came back with his family, made a refugee claim. Because of these new rules, it caught the father, but did not catch the children. The children's cases are still at the refugee board, but the father has been deemed ineligible. So what's likely to happen for this PGWP holder is, if you make that claim and you've been here for more than 1 year, and more likely than not, the person who's made a refugee claim would have been here for more than 1 year, because study permit, you can either do a program for 8 months to be eligible for PGWP. You've done at least 16 months, 16 or 18 months. You've done at least over a year to get a 3-year PGWP. So more likely than another person will be caught by this. So the family member's claim will continue, and then this person has to wait to be given a PRA. Now, I think you also asked the question whether or not, if the family members make the refugee claim, whether the PGWP holder can continue to be in the country. Yes, the PGWP holder has the authorization to be here pending the expiration of the PGWP. So, provided your PGWP continues to be valid, you can be in the country. The challenge you may run into is for you to transition, for you to apply for PR. So say, for example, you do 2-3 years of work in Canada, you become eligible for PR, you get invited as a PGWP holder through Express Entry, for example, and you do your application. There's a thing that is assessed when people apply for any status in Canada. It's called admissibility. You can be considered inadmissible to Canada on account of criminality, on account of your health, on account of your finances, on account of serious human rights breaches. I don't even miss anything, on account of misrepresentation. Now, where a family is applying, or where a person is applying, your admissibility is assessed with your family. So we look at your dependent family members, your spouse, your children under 18. If any of those people are inadmissible to Canada, then potentially it affects you. So for a person whose spouse and children have made refugee claims that are pending, because when you make a refugee claim, you come into Canada without a permanent resident visa, but you, by making a refugee claim, express an intention to remain in Canada permanently. There's something you get issued when you make a refugee claim. It's called a departure order, right? That departure order becomes enforceable when your refugee claim fails, or if and when your refugee claim fails, right? Now, in this situation, the departure order is an offshoot of being considered to be inadmissible, which is, by law, you're required to come into Canada with a permanent resident visa if you want to be a permanent resident. But you come into Canada on a visitor's visa, you say you want to make a refugee claim, you don't have a permanent resident visa, a report has been done about your admissibility, and you've been issued a departure order that can ultimately become a deportation order. The family members who are making a refugee claim that's pending are technically inadmissible to Canada, even though their inadmissibility is not yet enforceable. So what you will need to deal with when you're doing your PR application, if you get invited, is to explain to the officer why in your situation, your family members' situation should not impact your admissibility, and you can include them to get PR through yourself, right? So even though their situation should affect you, your argument in doing your PR application will be that although they are the refugee claim, their inadmissibility is not yet enforceable. And therefore, your application for PR, if you get invited, can still be processed. So there is a potential for an officer to raise admissibility issues, but there are legal arguments that you can present to be able to address them, and also deal with things like compassionate applications if the officer is not satisfied that their refugee claim doesn't impact you. So I say all of that to say that application will not be a routine application. It will be something you have to address, and then up to the officer to make a decision one way or the other.
Thank you very much. Please, at that point, that will be the last question, and we're going to call on Laura and the president and Dixie, please. Please, can we give up for our lawyer? I think you have your cards. Yeah, please, he has his cards. If you want to consult him outside of this, please, you are free to do so. So, please, can we give up for him again? You know, when it comes to immigration, a lot of us are always looking for questions and questions and questions and questions. That's the only reason why I keep asking the lawyers. Why is it that those immigration officers never smile? They don't smile. When you miss one document, again I repeat, they make you go what I call catch 22. You bring this, I give you that. Oh, we need the other one. Oh, we have this, we need the other one. I don't know. We're going to the next topic, and we have what we now call the digital age. You know what is funny? You know, the AI is so powerful that it can write essay, it predicts, and even recommend movies for all of us. But it still can't understand why human beings just click, I agree. You know that word, I agree. Anytime we're on the internet or on phone, the next thing we click, just read, I agree. Download this, I agree. How many of us have taken the pain to read those lines? I started a couple of years ago, but I'm still reading one. My Hotmail was only 4 numbers at that time. The last time I checked, that same name I used is no longer available. Why? I think our speaker here are going to tell us a lot. Because computer will not tell you proof that you are a human being. Imagine the world. We have 2 specialists in the field. We have Isaac, who is the Director of Measurement Analytics at Outbuff, where he built data strategy practice from scratch. Before that time, he spent time at Google. Please remember that, Google. In data management. Off the clock, Isaac is a community leader with a deep love for people and soccer. That is why he's here. He has seen much. And he's a team player. Few people in his corner know so much about digital world. I personally have had an encounter with him that I call him up to say, how do I download this? He's going to be joined by Samuel Adeshina. Samuel is a software engineer with 8 years of experience building cable digital products across industries, including cyber security, health technology, compliance, and financial technology. He is the founder of Saro. If you look about our sponsors here today, we have the pleasure of having Samuel Adeshina, who is the founder. And permit me to introduce the duo to please come forward for the next topic, which is digital age, AI. Please give up for them.
Needed for those 8 a.m.s.
me as part of the community, but some of you don't know that more than just being a part of the community, I'm also a professional. I've worked in digital data for a very, very long time, and I'm very privileged to work with AI, and that's why I really want to share it with you guys. It has its own advantage, and it has its own disadvantage. But for now, let's get into it. So, just because I said I work with AI, my first question to you is, did you talk to an AI today? That's a question that I need an answer. Did you talk to an AI today?
Even now.
You did?
Yes.
Who else? Just show me your hands. So only about 3 people spoke to an AI today. Okay, fair enough. I think you all just lied. Because you all did talk to an AI today. Some of you were on Instagram, someone is also watching football. All of this are powered by AI systems. You drove here, you most likely used Google Map or Waze, whatever you use for that. Those are powered by AI systems. You play music from what the DJ is doing. The selection algorithm, those are powered by AI systems. The photo filter that you have, all of those, not to mention the autocorrect that always thinks I am wrong, even though I know I was wrong and I want to keep it that way. They are also AI systems. And so let's really talk about the truth about what you see on your screen, or perhaps what your screen is really all about. What you haven't noticed is that you literally
see
live
your wife
AI right
That's
now.
your wife's gone. That's beautiful.
Now, 66% of adults under the age of 30
Nobody's beautiful.
now use chatbots. As I asked the question just now, only one person said they use AI today. But I want to clarify, AI is not just
Tomorrow.
ChatGPT. AI is not Claude. It's not something that you
time we
just
just
chat
start
with.
again tomorrow.
So one way or the other, you know that you have interacted and such is there.
You go talk with her, Shannon, then you get her
Now,
number.
in addition to that,
So text me. So I go.
1 in 5
You
people
come in the morning,
actually
so
turn
you
to
get the
AI for
dress.
emotional
Handmade
support.
dress, or shoes, or jewelry.
So basically, from what the
Let me talk
psychologist
to her, then
said,
we'll call you back.
You need to get everything.
it's not healthy,
Make
but
it
I for one I
just
do it.
Yeah, I know you want.
I'll call you
But
back.
I'm very, very skeptical about online AI, and so what I do is use local AI. Basically, you can have your own AI in your pocket that never shares data with anyone. If you want to learn how to do that, I don't have enough time, but I can show you how. Now, 63% of those users that we talked about really share, they never really tell someone that they are struggling and they are using AI, or they are using any chatbot. Again, if I mention AI, the very likely word that you guys would know is that, again, ChatGPT, OpenAI, any of those models, that's what you really would know as AI. But once we get into it, you would understand that AI is just bigger than, it's really bigger than just ChatGPT. So let's do a little experiment. Do you know how long you spend on your screen a day? Sorry? 24 hours. You don't sleep? Alright, so on average, the adult spends about, under the age of 25, spend about 8 hours a day. And so I want to challenge anyone, if you're brave enough, bring out your phone. If you already have your phone, just go to settings, try to search for screen time on your settings. Then tell me how many hours that you think you spend on your screen. I'll tell you mine is I'm not proud about it, but I'll tell you. But do you see anything surprising?
No.
No, so you're proud of what you're saying?
Somehow.
Yeah, also.
13 hours, 49 minutes.
13 hours, 49 minutes a day. That's why it's a psychologist. We're getting somewhere. Any other one? Volunteer, tell me how many hours?
4 hours, 30 minutes.
7 hours, 4 hours.
4 hours, 38 minutes, I mean, sorry.
So we're getting to the healthy part and the very unhealthy one. I am 9 hours, 38 minutes. So we're not ranking by the highest though. We get to the point. So let's do that. So that's what you spend a day. Let's multiply that by the number of days in a year, 365. And let's see how many days you spend on the screen in a year. Come on, let's be brave. We'll get sharp. For me, it says that I spend about 136 days in a year looking at my screen. And you can do your own mathematics and try to figure out how many days a year you spend looking at your screen. And you know the other part of it is, so you also do unlock your phone about 186 times in one day. And at least once every minute. For me, I have an excuse. But I'm working, I use my screen. Everyone also have an excuse. But remember, when I came in here, the first thing I said is I work with AR on a daily basis. So I would say my screen basically should be around 9 hours because it consists of what I do on my laptop and on my phone. Nevertheless, it is still time spent looking at the screen. Now, let's look at the cost of that. What statistics say is that around the 2 to 4 hours, once you spend that time on your screen, is when the odds for getting that anxiety and depression sets in. So what it means is that the 9 hours I was very, very proud of just now, just suddenly became something else, right? And while that is the case, I also have good news. 48% of those people that we mentioned earlier, of the adults under 25, also believe that AI, does more harm than good. Now, I'll ask you guys this question. Do you believe that AI does more harm than good, or do you believe otherwise? Is it good then it is bad, or is it bad and it is good? Or is there in between?
I think there's an equilibrium.
There's an equilibrium somewhere. Right, very correct. But the good thing about this is that the users who use it the most are still the people who mostly don't trust it the most. Which means that we know that we're doing it, and at the same time, also want to find a way out of it. This is the exact thing that then leads into the depression, the anxiety that we speak about, and essentially lead to someone having to maintain a certain mental fitness. Before now, I know mental health, but about 2 hours or 1 hour ago, I know mental fitness. Now that I know it's a journey. So now let's really talk about why am I bringing the statistics. Earlier I said I'm a data analyst. That's my job. I only do things based on the numbers. But I'm not really here to tell you guys to feel bad if you use screen. That's not the case. The whole point is that AI, even though of screen time, whatever you do on the digital world, even though it has advantage and disadvantage, you essentially control it. The algorithm is built to keep you from looking, like don't do nothing else. It's just like what Yusuf said. You go online, let me scroll for about 2 minutes, you get hooked, you're there 30 minutes, you're there, God knows how long. And sometimes it's lullaby. I just lie to myself that it is, but it's not. Just because, it get addictive, just like drugs. That was intentionally built. I come from a data department where everything that we do is intentional based on what we know about every individual. So whatever you do right now, every data point that we collect is purposely used to build something that will alter your reality any time of the day. And so the question is not really about is AI good or is it bad? Essentially, it's in your hands. What can you do about it, right? So that takes us to AI being a tool that you can build. I am not teaching exactly how it works, but I'm just here to give a correlation of how you can wield AI as a tool. Now, if I decide to go into the real explanation of how it works, it takes time. So let's just quickly, break it down. Models. You may have heard OpenAI, you've heard of ChatGPT. Sometimes people call Claude, sometimes people call Opus, sometimes they call it Sonnet. Those are different models. They're different brains, essentially, that live within an organization that builds them. ChatGPT, for example, is owned by OpenAI, and some of the models that OpenAI uses, every other time you will see somebody just built a new AI, somebody built a new model. It's just a brain that is contained within their offering, basically. There's nothing more than that. But the good thing is they get smarter. How do they do this? Essentially, it depends on data. Everything that AI knows is everything that it learned from the data that we all fed. It's just multiple pictures, multiple pixels on your pictures, and in text from the phone, from different computers. You can also say audios and all of that. And then it's built in a way that it just, since you have so much data, the only thing that it then knows is how do we predict, and how does it predict? It just uses pattern recognition, and that's pretty much it. And it has done that over and over and over again. It became so good at it, and then you have AI, which is something that you know as, oh man, this is really smart. You ask a question and it knows it. It's really just predicted based on the data that it has in the past. And that's why it's really important, because if you control that edge, it means you can use it to your advantage. Now I'll pause here because the moderator has quickly warned me not to speak too much. I'll hand it over to Sam. Sam works with AI on a daily basis as well. For the AI engineer, we are trained AI.
Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, everyone, for this opportunity to be here. Thankful to the president and the organizing committee of this great event. I'm here to talk about careers in AI, how you can be a builder and not just a user of AI. A quick introduction about myself. I work using AI on a daily basis. I currently work with Friend AI as a lead engineer building cybersecurity products. Most recently, I also founded Sunroll. It's a group finance app. So I will go through what careers you can have in AI and also talk a little bit about how that influenced my decision with Sunroll. Can anybody answer what comes to their mind, or what kind of jobs comes to their mind when someone says careers in AI? This is one person. What? Exactly. Yes. So most people think it has to be something technical. It has to be a software engineer, data collector, data analyst, someone working in robotics, a lot of these other jobs. But the thing with AI is it has been embedded so much in all industries now. You don't have to be technical. Doctors are using it, lawyers are using it, the law enforcement officers, they are all using it. So having a career in AI doesn't mean you're a technical person or you need to be. You can leverage what you have currently to build a career and basically connect different products together to serve a certain purpose. So when we look at all the industries we have, and how we've used AI so far, there's something common in it. We have a process that is very complex, or where mistakes happen, not reliable, and we basically bring in AI to automate it, make it a lot more reliable, and have a faster way of delivering whatever objectives we need to deliver. So in AI, we have, I will talk about just a few of the technical jobs possible. We have the software developer, we have the data scientist, AI software engineer. Like I said, these are all technical roles. I put the figures here. These are medians, not directly explicit. It's depending on the years of experience. But beyond this, you can also use AI in whatever industry you have right now. And in the next step, I can show you how you can start building with AI. And this is like a 6 to 12 months journey. So the first 2 months, you want to deal with the foundations, what AI is about. Isaac already gave us a very good foundation, how they use data. You want to learn about how LLM work. You don't need to know the underlying mathematics of that, just some basic knowledge of how you can connect all these various large language models from various companies together. And from the second month, I would say you want to start building. So you have your ChatGPT right now. You can start using it to automate your own daily activities. So you can automate, when I wake up at this time, I need you to get me a list of news in this certain industry. If you're a student, I need you to maybe go through my Google Drive notes I uploaded yesterday, summarize it for me, send out this mail. This is how you can use AI on a daily basis. So from month 2 to month 6, you're building, you're automating. You can be as flexible, there is really no boundary on what you can build with AI right now. Build different projects, workflows, and document what you learn. And then from the 6th month, you want to start proving, you want to start showing people what you've done. You want to start measuring value. You talk to your friends, I did this thing is really helping me in my studies, in my current job. What do you think about it? And before you know it, you're already building solutions. So I have a couple of resources here on where to start learning. We have elements of AI. It's free. These resources are free. They are things you can just learn on. We have the Microsoft Learn AI Hub, the Google Crash Courses. We have, if you want something a lot more technical, where you want to code, you can do the CS50 Python crash course from Harvard, which is also free. But beyond learning all these courses, one mistake people make is just studying for these courses, getting the certificates, and just having screenshots on LinkedIn about what they just did. That's a very big mistake. What you want to do is you want to build proof and not just certificates. You don't want screenshots. In fact, I will tell you, hiring managers are not looking at that. They're looking at evidence, they're looking at what you've actually done. What process have you made so simple that makes people's life easy? It doesn't even have to be 1,000 people, it could be your own family. It could be an happy people for yourself, and you're able to talk about this in an interview, and they'll take you over someone who went to school for a CS degree. So you want to build proof, you can build a workflow assistant, something that just makes your own life easy. You can just test AI generally on different information. You could upload various data and analyze it, try to get informed decision from it. So every project you work on, you want to be able to talk about the problem you're solving. Who are those affected? Like I said, those affected could be just you. That's still an answer. What is the prototype? What is the evidence of value? What failed and what's changed? By having all these answers, you're putting yourself out there as not just a user of AI, now you're a builder. So careers are built by solving useful problems one at a time. And one recurring skill that I've seen across all careers is translating how people work into reliable technology. Now I'm talking about what I've seen with software from various industries. You could be in a school, you make admission easy, you make enrolling students easy, collecting tuition fees easy. It's all about making processes easy. That's what AI, tech, or whatever career around this is all about. So you want to apply this skill to whatever you're doing right now. And that is the same ideology that came when Sunroll was developed. So I have a very large friend group, and we do a lot of things from time to time. We travel, we have gatherings, and one common thing here is that someone pays for an item, another person plans where we are going, someone needs to reimpose another person. All these things are all scattered. It could be in a chat, another one is an iMessage, someone randomly sends it on Instagram to your DM. So they're all scattered around. So Sunroll came to solve that problem for us. It allows us to collate all this information, put them in a space, and everybody can access it. We can access it in the future. So we can also use it for our household. So say you have your roommates and you have to do shared spending, like paying rent, paying for utilities. It allows you to record who has paid, who is owing who, and this allows you to even generate reports. And yeah, in Sunroll we are very, very privacy oriented. Whatever you have, it's only accessible to you and to those who you've allowed to be in your space. So Sunroll started with a woman problem. We have the group chats, spreadsheets, receipt photos, email receipts, itinerary notes, all scattered around. So who paid for what? Who owes what? And did we even settle as this person paid me? The mathematics was never the problem, or getting paid by your friends was never the problem. The only problem was coordinating all these different processes, all these different information scattered all around. That is what Sunroll is solving. And it uses AI as part of the way it solves this by making financial summaries for you, planning your trip based on the budget you've entered. So Sunroll is not just for trips, it's for roommates and household. You can use it for wedding planning, you have to pay for a lot of things together, projects, and you can even use it for your personal expense tracking where you record your income and your budget and have recurring shared plans. For our latest feature that we just published last week, it's a trip planner that basically, if you're going for a trip with your friends, it helps you plan your day-to-day itinerary with times, possible costs that you pay, and this is all dependent on whatever budget you enter. It helps you plan it, plans your time to commute and a lot more information. You can also manually do all these things if you want in the app, but there is an AI helper for you. So coming back to the AI building and being an AI builder. For Sunroll, AI helps us do the messy work. You have a receipt on your phone, you have it in your email, it helps you read that, it drafts your trip plans, it writes summaries for you, it makes you know who is owing you in plain English. And for that, we still have the other parts where the apps tries to do the mathematics, who owes what, currency conversions, payments recording, and a lot more. So for me, going back to one of the 5 questions I asked, you should be able to talk about what building with AI has taught you. One of which is, I started with the workflow. I understood what the issue was. So leave AI out of it. You need to think about what is the actual problem before choosing whatever model you want to use or API framework. The second was to remove friction and not responsibility. We are not trying to remove people out of the whole flow. We are just trying to make AI make things better for us, which means AI is helping us prepare and suggest, but people are still in control to accept whatever they want. Trust is a product feature, which means privacy, transparency, and predictable mathematics since we're dealing with currencies and payments for people. I also learned about that. The last one would be after I built this product, friends shared it with friends, shared it with various people, and others are also using it online, trying to get feedback and then building on the feedback that it brought. So my last thing I would say here is you should use AI. Don't run from AI. But rather than using AI alone, I want to ask you to build with it, to design stuff around it. Choose something that is very annoying, workflow, something you've been doing that just pisses you off. Find a way to make it better. It can be very small, and put it in front of your friend. Learn what they tell you, and that's it. I invite you to scan to download Sunro. It's available on the iOS store, Apple store, Android store, and it's also in your bag, so you can scan that at any time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, and thank you very much. Now we see that Sunro, that's the guy behind it, and Azik is the data man. So, very quickly, we're going to go to the next topic, which is very, very interesting. I know a lot of people are going to be so thrilled because we have two great speakers. The next topic is going to be substance abuse. You know why I say it's going to be very interesting? Because these two speakers are going to make us understand how, why people use substance. And apart from that, they are going to explain so clearly that even your group chat will understand. You know, substance abuse is no laughing matter, but if you ever try to drink one bottle at a wedding, you already know how quickly things escalate. I know some of us, the first time we ever had the opportunity to speak to a girl is to take some bottles of alcohol to pick us up. So, permit me to introduce Laura Okomo. She's a social worker with a passion for supporting individuals and strengthening community. She is the director of LN Consulting and currently works in the Niagara region, providing support to individuals experiencing homelessness, mental health challenges, and substance abuse. Laura is deeply committed to mental health advocacy and believes in promoting awareness, education, and empowering to achieving recovery and well-being. And we also have Blessing Digger. Is a black woman who identifies as a feminist. She's an advocate, she's a storyteller, and a community-based researcher who brings all the intersections and ideology to the work she does on gender-based violence and sexual reproductive health and rights. She's like to kickstart, she likes to kickstart very uncomfortable conversation on issues that concern and threats and impact girls and women. These two great speakers are going to help us understand substance abuse. Laura and Blessing, please can you come to the podium? Please give it up for them.
Something. You cannot call me Laura, only he can call me Laura. The rest of you don't call me that. But good afternoon, everyone. I am so happy to be here. I work with you guys every day, I see you every day, but there are issues that we never talk about. And I'm not going to give my whole speech because we don't have any more time. Our time here was meant to be until 6 o'clock, but the African aspect in us has not allowed us to be on time. So it's 6 o'clock, we should be leaving, and I'm starting to talk. So I'll talk very, very briefly because I do believe that substance abuse has become a pandemic, a very, very serious one. And when I say substance abuse, most of you think I'm talking about fentanyl and other opioids. I'm talking about alcohol. I'm talking about marijuana. I'm talking about the easy things that you think are not important, things that can alter your brain function. Marijuana, for instance, has become a serious pandemic among the young boys, and they think it's a flex. They think it's fun. They think doing it should be, it's something that makes you feel better. Cannabis is very, very, it's not good. It's a bad thing. I work mainly in homelessness and addictions, and I've seen the bad side of addictions. When I talk about I've seen the bad side of addictions, when you see me walking around in the Niagara region, I'm known by all the homeless people, I'm known by all the drug addicts. I walk around with this on my belt every day. This is me every single day. And what I see in the Niagara region are people literally dying, like literally. I overdoses every single day because there's bad opioids out there. And a lot of us are starting to think that you want to enter into that area. Do not. It's not a good area. I'll tell you a little story about what gives me stress. And now Yusuf is gonna have to be my psychotherapist because every single day I go to work, I'm expecting bad news or I meet bad news. I walk in, one of my clients 2-3 weeks ago, I don't see her for 2 days. I go into her room because I can't have access and she's dead on her face. And I have to call 911 and they still tell me to perform CPR on a corpse that I know is dead, but because I'm not allowed to pronounce death, I am not a coroner, I had to do that for 15 minutes before the ambulance came.
Jesus Christ.
And now that takes its toll on me. And then I look at you young people starting to think that these things are fun or these things are things that you should dwell in. They are not. Alcohol itself, cannabis itself, too much of it just alters your brain function. You don't think well. You start to do the wrong things. You start to go around thinking you are invincible. You're driving while your brain is altered. A lot of you are driving. Yes, smile, I'm looking at you, I mean you. It's you I'm talking about. You know yourselves. So let's be serious a little. I'm going to have to ask the president here for us to have an actual convention where we will have half a day on substance abuse because I can no longer have my talk, which I was going to have, but I need time to talk about this because I'm seeing it, it's happening, and it's sad. It's sad because people are dying. It's sad because people are getting addicted. Alcohol itself, you can get addicted to alcohol, thinking that I can drink every day after work, then you get 2 beers, then it becomes 4. We have those that own clubs that are here. Big up to you at the back there, sir, York Lounge. It's an establishment, but he's not saying come every day. He wants your money, but he's not saying come there every day and get drunk. Yes, go and support York Lounge. They are our partners over there, but don't do it every day. That's part of substances. I invited my friends here from Black Cap, and in between my talk, I'm not saying any much. They have prepared for us. So this that I have on my waist here is called naloxone. It's a naloxone kit, which if you see someone overdosing on the road, which is my job every day, by the way, I go and I try to bring them back. Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not. But naloxone kickstarts you and you kind of come back from wherever you've gone. And it's very strong. When you give it to someone, you always have to take a step back because they can wake up and punch you in the nose. So I give naloxone, I step back. Sometimes because of the opioids that are going around now, They are cut with many benzos. Benzos are like tranquilizers that are used for horses. That is what they are mixing in the drugs. So when it takes you, it takes you. There are some where we've used 6 of these and they don't work. So I'll ask the lady from Black Cap here, who I invited today. They also have packages for us before you go. I need each of you to take one of these home. Because while you're walking on the road, I want us to be the change that we claim, okay? I want us to be the change, because are you going to see someone overdosing and walk away? Training for it in your packages, I've given you the training. It's very easy. Florence, can you open one and bring it with you as well? It's very easy to use. Don't walk away. A lot of us, because of the stigma around substance abuse, we go around and we are looking as if it's funny. Some of us are taking out our phones. Be the change. You need to help someone. If they are overdosing, this is what we use. Very simple to use. I put the training inside your packages. Use it. Help someone. Be the change that Patmos is talking about. Be that. Over to you, Florence, just for 1 minute to say something to the team.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. So my name is Florence. I'm a harm reduction coordinator at Black Coalition for AIDS Prevention. So just like what Laura does, I also do it here in the Toronto region. And we've been noticing so many overdoses because there's a pandemic, like she said. So for Black Coalition for AIDS Prevention, we have so many services. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about Black Cap. We have so many services. Not only do we have harm reduction services, we also have mental health services. So remember when Yusuf was talking and he said you should also align with organizations that that offer these services. So Black Cap is one of those organizations. So you guys can come to us, everything is for free because we are not for-profit organizations. You can come to us for mental health services, for sex prevention, for harm reduction. We have a lot of services that we offer at Black Cap. And so today we have our brochures for the services that we offer on the table. And we also have naloxone, and we have care packages that we have prepared for you guys. So when you're leaving, just pass through the table and you can get a bag with a t-shirt, with naloxone, with our information from Black Cap, with condoms, and with lubes as well. Because we also talk about safe sex, right? So thank you so much for giving me this time, and thank you to Patmos for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Florence. Thank you. They're all smiling when you say you have condoms and lube. Yes, you have condoms and lube. You need to use them. We need to stay safe, guys. I'm going to call Blessing to speak for 2 minutes as well and talk about what addiction can do to your brain and things that it can make you do. 2 minutes.
Thank you. I'm your favorite sex lady, so I will just, very short, I wish I had a lot of time, but we all know that substance misuse and sex are linked. And like Laura said, Laura put up a whole list about cannabis and all that, but in our community, when we talk about substance abuse, a lot of us don't think about alcohol, we don't think about weed, and it's putting a lot of us in trouble. You'll have a genital meet and greet, someone is coming over to see you, and you use weed. You know, you're already high, and then you go over and beyond. It's putting a lot of our men in trouble. I'm being very serious right now. And when we look at the statistics, we see that substance misuse, it impairs the decisions we make around sex. Now I'm going to speak about 2 things that I see that is affecting our community, the Black community, the Nigerian community, our Nigerian men. 2 things that we are fighting with in Toronto right now. Consent and stilting. Please, if you are going to have sex with someone, be she Black, be she white, if she tells you to use a condom, please use a condom from start to finish. Don't start and say, it's not sweet without condom. And you remove it without her agreement, without her consent. If she reports you, that's rape. And I personally will not write a letter because it now puts me in a bad light at my job. But to be honest, that is rape. in the eyes of the Canadian law, that is rape. If you are having sex with someone and she tells you, okay, yes, we are going to have sex, but you are going to withdraw. Don't come inside me. Jesus. Please, when you get to that point, don't say, I forgot, it's too sweet, something, and you come inside that person. That's rape. Once they report you, that's rape. And a lot of times we see that substances impair our decisions that lead to that outcome. So these are the two things that we're really fighting with right now amongst the Nigerian community, amongst the men. Please practice consent. Someone tells you no, leave it as no. All those crude jokes we used to make in Nigeria, please don't come and make them here. It is sexual harassment. All those, you're freely talking about people's bodies, women's bodies. A lot of women didn't like it back home anyway, but they couldn't talk about it. When you do it here, if you report, you get into trouble. So please, let's talk to ourselves as a community. Let's practice consent. If you're going to weed up before your genital meet and greet, and I'm using that word because there's a minor here, please ensure that you have the other person's consent, that you are doing this, so that, you know, there's a line. Once you cross that line legally, it becomes rape. And because of substance abuse or misuse, I'm hoping that every face I'm seeing here in this room, I will not have to come and advocate for you or write a letter pleading for you. But please, let's stick to our boundary. 2 minutes has passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Blessing. Thank you very much. So this talk, despite it being very short and being at the end, may be a very important topic. We look at it and we think some things are funny. They're not really funny. It's real life. People are going to jail. You're driving, you are impaired. Your whole immigration life can be altered because of that. You get a DUI, you will never get the papers. So we need to think about substance abuse and think about it like seriously. And like I said, I want us to be the change that we claim we are. The president said we are a family, and as a family, we have to teach each other the right things. We're not going to tiptoe around each other and tell each other lies and tell each other things to make each other happy. You're worth protecting. Your brain is worth protecting. What those drugs do to your brain is more than you ever know. If you go on that same AI and just check, you will find the alteration of your brain just by one, what do you call it, of marijuana, those who smoke it, what do you call it? You see, they all answer. So your future is important too. Your family is important. A lot of us lose our families and everything because of those same drugs. Your dreams are important. A lot of us have just lost our way. We don't like going to school. Believe it or not, me and Blessing had a pact that we're gonna keep learning. I'll be doing my master's soon. She's already doing her PhD. She's way ahead of me. We're not stopping. Those are dreams that we talk about and we think about and we say to ourselves, hey, as friends, we're not just gonna gossip. We're gonna tell each other, let's go to school. I have Dr. Yusuf here now. He said I can come to him for anything, so I will be there. I am always with Mr. Babalola and Tosin asking questions for some of you. Those are things that are important more than the substances that we think are important. And in ending, I want to thank all of you for coming. I appreciate all of you. Any question? I think Shakala had a question. I'm gonna give him a chance because I put a jab on him earlier. Yes, sir, go ahead.
I wanted to ask, why do they put condom in there?
Pardon?
I wanted to ask, why do they put condom in there?
Why do they put
condom?
Condoms in where? In the bag.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you're sitting, you're drinking, you start seeing the woman being very pretty in your face. And you don't think that a condom is important because the more you drink, the more you smoke. Even as ugly as I am, you start seeing me pretty. And the next thing you think, as pretty as I am, after the alteration, You think you can just go in. There's gonorrhea, there's syphilis, it's going round, it's a lot. Condoms are important, extremely. Thank you. I'll put a little more for you.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take one more question.
Yes. Yes, Isaac.
So you mentioned we'll take one of those. The question is, how do you know when one is OD? Because sometimes you see people just standing, maybe they're just enjoying the moment, and then you go after them, they rush you.
Yes.
What is OD?
So what we see these days, especially for people who smoke fentanyl, we call it the fentifold. You will see them half bending, sleeping or like this. They can be like this for 30 minutes and they don't move. They are not overdosing, they are still on their feet. But you see them on the floor, they are starting to turn blue around the mouth and breathing has gone very shallow. Sometimes you can just tell this person is becoming lifeless. A lot of them, like I said, we can save using this. But because of the different drugs that are there these days, some of them you can't save them. Sometimes it's too far. And while you are doing this, remember you are not a doctor. You are doing this to just help for now. Be on the phone and be calling 911 because they still need to go to the hospital. So despite you helping, this is just a little help you can help to bring them back from the dead. We call it bringing them back from the dead. I'm sure I've brought hundreds back from the dead because of this, but you're not a doctor. Still call 911, they need to be checked out. They need to know what's going on. So they're turning blue, they are lifeless, they are lying there. Help, please.
Is it legal for anyone to just do it?
It is legal, as long as you are trained. That's why I put the training for you. The training is not anything that you go to school for. We literally round up a group of people that are volunteers. We train them in 10 minutes, and then we do outreach in St. Catherine's. And within those 10 minutes, they've already learned how to do it. And amongst them, 1 or 2 of them can save a life after learning for 10 minutes. So the training that is there, you can also go on YouTube. Remember AI, Mr. AI. You go on YouTube, you see exactly how it's done, and it's easy. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, please give up for yourself. As you know, if today has inspired you, it's wonderful. If today has confused you, it's also wonderful. Confusion is the first step to learning. So, however, we are going to end on this note. I'm going to call on the president, Mr. Iman. He's so busy, he's doing everything. Because after learning about mental health, wellness, immigration, AI, and substance misuse, we are now going to close. I'm looking forward to seeing every one of us, maybe same time next year. Mr. Emmanuel, please.
Thank you again. Yes, this one. My friend, why is came all right. Thank you for your time, and I really, really look forward to seeing a better version of us next year. Okay, guys? And for the people from Black App, thank you for coming. Thank you for honoring our invitation. And I have these beautiful flowers. Yes.
Please just come forward.
Yes. On behalf of Purpose FC Cup, it's a little token, but it's just as beautiful as you. So especially selected. Thank you for your kindness for what you do. It's nice. Beautiful one for another beautiful. Thank you. This one, very interesting. She's very much one of us. I don't know what we're thinking about us. Madam Blessed, Timmy, but yeah, it was another beautiful one again today. Yeah, you never disappoint. But you Yes, yes. When you were speaking about condoms, I Shakara didn't like it. Yes. Did Shakara get one? Thank you, Obi, for partners FC. Just a little bit. Yes. Yes. Woo. Where do I start from? It's a very successful day. We achieved everything we set out to do today. Because you came. Because we saw your faces. Yes, thank you. Where do I start from? The players of Patmos FC. Some of us are not here today. For the ones that are here and the ones that didn't make it to come, I want to let you know that the management appreciates you, your effort, your time is very valuable. And we value that. May God continue to keep us together. May God continue to bless us. And from there, I move on to our sponsors. Wow, what can we do without you guys? Where do I start from? Wow, our family people from African Chopper. I think we have just, normally we always have the whole house. We have just one rep from African Chopper. I want you to know that, okay, Madam Josephine Brackett. Yeah. Yes. What do I call her? CEO or partner CEO? Isaac, what do you call that title? When two people own the business. Yes, co-founder. I want you to know that we at Patmos FC, we appreciate you guys. We appreciate your support. There is no Patmos FC without African Chopper the way it's been. And we are very, very appreciative and we say thank you and we look forward to the continuous partnership with your beautiful restaurant. Whatever food you're eating today, both the snacks and the menu came from African Chopper. So do we? Yes, let's do that. And all our other partners, LM Consultancy, we don't even need to say anything. Mama Patmos. Mama Patmos. She's everything Patmos. Okay, she epitomizes everything Patmos. Did I get that correctly, my English people? I tried. Yes. Thank you, Mama. May God continue to bless you. We really do appreciate you and we value you. Okay? Yes. And Mr. Yusuf Karimi, I can't thank you enough. May the Creator bless you. Bless you for what you do. It's obvious that you are a committed man. We called on you, we came to you, or rather we came to you and we called once and you answered. And you just didn't answer. You gave us all the support, all the assistance that we needed for this event today. Thank you, sir. I am looking forward to having you on the podium like this, a bigger one, in the future. I am looking forward to working. We are looking forward to continually working to continue to work with you. Sometimes I want to speak big English. I forget to say one thing. All right, and oh my God, barista, Tose Falaye. Yes, I remember when I first came to this country. It was his office that gave me papers there 12 years ago. Yes. And when I saw him just now, like, do you remember now? And when I mentioned my name at the time, I was like, oh wow, long time. Yes. And today we had an event that we had to run to you for support. 10 years ago, we didn't know this was going to happen. Yeah, you see the value of community, guys? Guys, thank you. And Isaac is my younger brother. I don't think he needs any time. Still, may God bless you. He's our technology director, Patmos FC. He's been immense. Isaac has been everything. Anything you see digital Patmos is Isaac. Yes. You see the Patmos logo? Isaac. There was a logo I designed, and you looked at it, throw it off. You see the t-shirt you're wearing, the design? Isaac. Whatever is happening right now, Isaac. You see that? Isaac. The website? Isaac. Oh my God. Isaac is so immense. God bless you. And Patmos is very blessed to have you. He's a director. How do you call it? Patmos director? Yeah, he's one of our directors. Likewise, Laura.
They were sharing this.
And yeah, and Coach Legend is here. And myself. So these persons have been helping to handle the affairs of this group. We go to the field to play. We don't know what happens outside. We don't know what happens back door. A lot administratively, a lot of groundwork is always being done. And these people, with the support of these people, with the help of these people, I have been able to lead this group to this point. Yeah, I know we can do better, and I know we're going to do better. I'm not going to keep you for too long. I'm trying to know how to not follow the script and yet go by the script. But as you can see, I'm still a novice. We'll get there. Guys, thank you. Our people from Black Card, thank you. You guys made this event possible. Thank you. God bless you. And wow, I almost missed it. My two wonderful coaches, Coach Richard and Coach Legend. Wow. Coach Legend has been a friend from God knows where. Yeah, and we have also been, we came together to partner to do this. Some people are pointing me to return the back. Let me go closer to this side. Yes. Coach Legend, I want you to come up here. Come. Yes. I don't think I've had a medium like this to ever really appreciate this man and really tell him what a wonderful person he is. Yeah, he's been more than a friend. You know what? When first of all, if you guys know the coach, the credential of this coach, that coaches Patmos FC, quick one. But Satoshi has a club as well. He wants to play friendly with us. He doesn't know Patmos. Patmos is a recreational team. It's a football club. Yeah. All right. So, if you know the credential of this coach, and if you know how much it will take to hire him, and yet we don't pay him, the group don't pay him, and yet he pays the group somehow with his time and with his own personal resources. We have all felt it. Aside the technical part, like Chelsea hired Mourinho, and yet they don't pay Mourinho. Mourinho is still doing things with them. So it's not easy to find people like that. My friend, may God bless you. Patmos FC, all the players, the coaches, and the management, we really appreciate you. Yes. And what else? My husband. I want you to say something to us, and then give me money. Thank you.
again, thank you everyone for honoring our invitation. This has been very insightful. I've learned, increased in wisdom. Now, I basically have to take what I've learned today and put it into practical. It's not about you just consume information and you don't put it into play. That would be my advice to everyone who's here. So again, thank you very much, team. Thank you for showing out, guys. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my friend. And last but not the least, how can we leave here without appreciating our wonderful host? Wow. I call him my father in Canada. He is Patmos FC's mentor and resource director. Ever since we started, from inception, even before when the dream was being, in fact, even before we had the dream, we were already, and he's always been guiding us. And what Ipa means in Bini language is father or master, monsieur in French. Yes. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for taking me as your son. And thank you for taking Patmos FC as your passion project. Is that what they call it? Your love for us we always feel it. Yes, and today again, it was one of the first persons here. That was the same thing last time. Every time we call upon him, he's always there. He's never late for any meeting. He's never late. So I'm trying to learn that from him now. He always tells me, as a leader, you have to be there first. You have to set the standard. Epa, am I trying? Am I doing good? Work in progress. All right, guys. Thank you. We have your take-home dinner right there. Please help yourself as you step out of our presence, but not from our hearts. God bless you.
Thank you all. I'll see you all.